Indeed, at some point in time, we were wondering whether we are going to have it. And like I said, investing in tax administration is very important. We were able to pull this together, and I thank my entire team for being able to do so. And indeed, I have put up a very, very good event where we have had a very, very, very engaging conversation. Again, as we come to the close of this session, I want to believe we shall put together the deliberations that we have that have come out of this, and we are going to progress them in terms of what are the lessons learned, what it is that we need to adopt as an authority. And I believe other tax administrations globally will also look at what they can adopt out of this engagement. I also want to thank our very able moderator who has come in very handy to make sure that our event is very, very successful. Thank you very much indeed. The people who have supported us in every manner, our technical people, who have made sure that we have had a very beautiful event behind the scenes. So we really appreciate you, our camera crew, the media, which has been very, very helpful. We were here yesterday in a large number, and we dialogued with them, and they took the message to Kenyans yesterday. The whole of yesterday, put it out there. So I must be very, very grateful to them. Finally, as I invite our chairman, I would like to thank the Kenyans for their resilience and for continuing to pay taxes. And I would like to encourage those who are not paying taxes that it is good for all of us to participate in the development of our country. Our country cannot develop where some of us are paying taxes and others are not. So I would encourage you to pay taxes. And I also encourage you to really fully observe the containment measures that the government has put in place so that we can have a quick recovery of the economy. We can come back to normalcy. Though we talk about new normal, we can get to that new normal where our economy is going to grow as desired, and we are going to create wealth, each one of us. And as we create this wealth, then we shall pull together and we shall pay taxes, and our country will move forward. I do not want to foresee a situation where we can have further containment measures because we are not conducting ourselves properly. As a tax person, I'm in the forefront asking you to take care of yourself so that we can together progress the economy. I now want to take this opportunity to welcome the commissioner, the chairman of the KRI board, Ambassador Francis Muthaura, to make some closing remarks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Commissioner General, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Trade, Cooperatives, and the Honorable Betty Maina, KRI Board of Directors, KRI Commissioner General, commissioners present, distinguished presenters in this conference, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to once again join you this afternoon as we come to the end of the 6th Annual Tax Summit. I agree with the Commissioner General that this was a tremendous engagement coming at a time that we have somehow adopted new ways of life, including how we engage each other. Unlike the previous Annual Tax Summit, where we had all panelists and participants in one room, this year we have had others joining us virtually across the world. Tax Summit is an annual event for KRI. Through this platform, we get feedback from our shareholders on various tax policies being implemented. This feedback is key to our decision-making processes and informs formulation of future tax policies. This year's summit comes at a time when the operating environment has dramatically changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The experiences of coping with the pandemic as shared with the various revenue administrations across Africa has come in handy. As the Commissioner General indicated, we are in very fruitful discussions. Very important points and proposals were raised. I want to assure you that we have taken note of all of these contributions for consideration. Most deliberations were made in regard to the topic of digitalization and revenue mobilization in developing economies. We are happy to note that participants acknowledged the role of technology in service delivery while commending KRI for embracing it in their provision of services. Along the same line, some participants expressed concern on the impact of digital service tax that is due for implementation in January 2021. We also took note of suggestions to have tax incentives to the informal sector and SMEs, especially in the startup e-commerce companies, so as not to stifle business growth. As a revenue agency focused on facilitating taxpayers to grow business, we assure startups of our support to comply with the regulations of DST. KRI has continued to simplify its services through technological platforms like introduction of M-Service app, iTax, and ICMS. We shall continue to invest in technology to ensure that payment of taxes is made more efficient to all taxpayers. As KRI, we understand and interact with the taxpayer to know their challenges, and we shall continue to focus on service delivery. Among other initiatives, KRI will continue to fast-tracking refunds, encourage use of ADR to resolve tax disputes, and adopt an open door policy to the taxpayers. In conclusion, I wish to affirm our continued collaboration with both the public and the private sector. I also wish to thank our taxpayers for resilience. Let me now humbly invite the CS, industry, trade, and cooperatives to make remarks.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much, Chairman, for the invitation to join you today, and acknowledge the presence of the Commissioner General as well. I want to thank the Revenue Authority for hosting this 6th annual tax summit. And it has actually been great to have the opportunity to listen to global experts, tax practitioners, the private sector players, and other government officials and the international business community. It's actually quite instructive that if we had had this meeting live, as you know, in one building, I doubt if you'd have had more than 200 or 300 people. But last time I checked, you had nearly 600 people, logged in. So perhaps this is the way to go, even when things normalize. Clearly, this electronic means enables us to interact with people from all over the world at fairly minimal cost to their bodies that international travel would entail. I also want to acknowledge and thank you for the choice of the theme that we have used, enhancing tax administration for economic sustainability, which is a critical tool, and I think it's of great importance to both government and the private sector. And the speakers have shared a wealth of knowledge that would be very useful to us as we seek to apply it. As you're aware, Kenya aims to have a robust, diversified, and competitive business and enterprise sector, which will transform ourselves into a high and middle income economy by 2030. The manufacturing sector, which has been prioritized under the Big Four agenda, also builds on the other choices we have picked on under Vision 2030, which is the trade and retail sector, because we believe that these are sectors that is key for driving economic growth and development and facilitates greater employment generation, foreign exchange generation, as well as attraction, with a view to creating wealth for our country. One of our strategic objectives within the ministry is to increase the contribution of the manufacturing sector to GDP and to expand our exports as well, because that is where we expect to see greater earnings for our country. And we continue to work on expansion of our generation and our production capacity and our export capacity, driven by the industrial transformation plan and the Big Four plan, as well as the National Export Development Strategy. In the context of growing our export markets, Kenya has launched various market access negotiations, both within East Africa, which we have continued to cement. We recently launched the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and we expect that it will go live at the beginning of January next year. We're currently engaged in negotiations with the United States for greater market access with the expiration of AGOA in 2025. We have negotiated the Economic Partnership Agreement with Europe, which is currently in place, though we are awaiting signature and ratification by our other EAC partner states. We have concluded the negotiations with the United Kingdom for the trade program that will apply post from the beginning of next year with the implementation of Brexit. So we continue to work on expansions of markets through these trade agreements, but we also continue to focus on enhancing production within the country, and we have seen the transformation in our manufacturing sector. We continue to see the transformation of our agricultural sector with greater adoption of value addition within the country, because we believe that it is important that in these markets we are seeking, we stop selling primary commodities, but we sell value-added goods. And I am very excited to see that our trade numbers are up. Despite COVID, we have seen a resurgence of our exports in the second and third quarter, which is exciting. For the country. As we continue to negotiate, for instance, in the context of the U.S. trade agreement, we are focusing on marketing digital trade, which in our view will give Kenya an opportunity to not just expand each of its goods through use of e-commerce, but also can give us an opportunity for participation and production of information technology and electronic related equipment to fire trade and to fire production within Kenya. Africa is one of those countries, obviously including Kenya, that have not yet really made a lot of progress on digital trade, as has been mentioned by UNCTAD, and that in turn is leading to a loss of revenue and a loss of opportunities for our business communities. We were able to leapfrog when we think about technology. For instance, the use of mobile phones and mobile telephony has enabled many countries, especially Kenya, to really leapfrog and realize greater communication and connectivity. And the internet-enabled and mobile phone-enabled trade would also fire our e-commerce. So we continue, and as we listened in the earlier session, on digitalization and revenue mobilization, is that many countries, few countries in Kenya and in Africa have advanced in use of mobile-based financial services and digital transformation, but Kenya has made a lot of progress. And we therefore continue to insist and believe that we can harness these technologies, not just for production alone, but also for trade and clearly for revenue mobilization. In the context of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we believe that Kenya stands to gain a lot because we have done the analysis and we have the possibility of replacing a lot of imported goods into Africa by producing the same from Kenya. So in our view, there is actually a lot of opportunities for us to take advantage of not just the local market or the regional market, but to also be able to expand our footprint in Africa. Therefore, I think in our view, it will be the partnership with the revenue authority, the partnership with the partnership that can enable us to ensure that our production and our private sector is well geared to not just produce, but to also be able to trade and obviously and pay the necessary taxes means that we need to adopt more technology. We need to facilitate their growth in this. And I want to thank you so much and appreciate the work that the Revenue Authority has been doing in its education, in its engagement with the private sector and the partnership and the real recognition that you play a role, not just as a revenue collector, but as a trade facilitator. And these two twin objectives and responsibilities of revenue authorities must go hand in hand. Sometimes there is a perception that the revenue authority is more motivated by its role as a revenue collector than by its role as a trade facilitator. But my argument and the argument we've always maintained is that it is important to keep great focus on both, because by enabling and by growing the private sector and by enabling them to produce, it makes it a lot easier to be able to collect the necessary revenue. Kenya continues to promote private sector growth. Kenya continues to promote market development for the private sector through the external market arrangements that I have discussed, but also because of through the generation of local markets and local procurement through the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya strategy. This year, the ministry issued the preferential procurement master roll, comprising of 334 products which are locally made, which should be accorded preferential procurement in the public sector, and that includes with the Revenue Authority, and that's something that we will continue to applaud those who are taking this up and encourage others who have not yet done this. We've talked about COVID, and this is there's been a lot of reference to COVID in the conference this week. But one of the things that the government has done since March is to support, the business community deal with COVID. Some might have been the implementation of the VAT refunds to give greater relief to businesses, the tax reliefs and the lifting of the tax minimum tax payments that enabled many employees and businesses deal and have more cash flow to be able to deal with the impact of COVID. But one of the things we've also seen is that government has facilitated business by generating and providing guidelines for business operations. And truth be said, the government really never shut down many businesses in Kenya, unlike in other countries. And these guidelines for business operations has enabled businesses to operate. And as the Director General mentioned, that businesses adhere to these guidelines so that we can forestall lockdowns, and more importantly, so that we can continue to generate the necessary revenue to drive the operations of government and to drive the necessary, and to be able to pay for the necessary public services. We're encouraged, especially by SMEs who have risen to the challenges that were placed before them to promote and to manufacture goods during this period, to reorient their services so that they were able to deliver to their customers. And the adoption, for instance, of e-commerce has enabled many businesses to operate even during the challenges of COVID. And we appreciate the resilience of these Kenyan businesses. So I want to just continue to congratulate KRA for putting this seminar together. I want to congratulate you for the choice of the theme. And I think as we go ahead as a government and as a country, we are all very energized, and we know that we are able to deliver for ourselves. We're able to maintain our businesses. We're able to maintain our businesses and therefore maintain our economy. And that has been demonstrated by the numbers that we have seen, that despite the constriction of certain economies in the region, Kenya has still realized positive growth even in the context of COVID. So let us continue to work together. Let us continue to promote production in Kenya. And I just want to continue to urge the Revenue Authority to maintain a greater focus in ensuring that it maintains its role as a trade facilitator. We also urge the business community to ensure that they are compliant and obedient to the directives and the guidelines that are provided by the Revenue Authority to pay their due taxes without without needing to be chased around. So it's important that all of us are as compliant as we can be in ensuring that we pay our due taxes. As I end, I also want to thank and congratulate the Director General for your nomination yesterday as a council member for the African Tax Administration Forum. Let us work together to build up Kenya. Let us work together to build up our businesses. And we just want to urge all businesses, small and especially the small and medium enterprise, formal, so that they are able to enjoy the services and the support of Revenue Authority and other trade facilitation agencies. We established Biashara centers, and we want to thank the Revenue Authority for posting staff to these Biashara centers to work and enable SMEs to understand how the Revenue Authority works and to become more and more compliant and formal. And together, we can grow our small and medium enterprises to a level when in a few years' time, there will be our multinationals. All our countries have demonstrated great agility, but I think I want to really applaud Kenya and Kenyan business community for demonstrating great agility in the context of COVID. And as we brace with dealing with COVID for the next few years until there's a vaccine, we have a great opportunity to innovate and to use more and embrace technology in our operations, both as business and as government. And with this and very many remarks, I want to congratulate the Revenue Authority and the team that has put this together, and we continue to celebrate and to work together in growing Kenya. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Industry, Trade and Cooperatives, Ms. Betty Maina. Thank you for bringing out those points. And indeed, thank you very much to the Kenya Revenue Administration for putting this together. And hopefully we will meet here again next year, having beaten COVID, having had experiences and tales to tell, and of course, looking forward. I would like to thank everybody who's been in this room for strictly adhering to all of the COVID protocols, even as we find ourselves with some increased numbers in the country. I'd like to thank all of our audiences who've joined us virtually. Thank you very, very much for being with us. 600 to 700 to 800 of you. We appreciate you, we applaud you, and for your fantastic questions, comments, and engaging with us through this platform. Mine is to say thank you very much, and for your patience, for your indulgence, and also for your keen and kind attention. And I want to just leave you with these ones. Mask up, social distance, stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize. Let's beat this because we can. It's one of the simplest things we can do to make sure that we get the health crisis sorted, and then we can start to move towards the economy. That has to be sorted first, and it's all in your hands, quite literally. Asanteni sana, thank you everybody, and we want to leave you with this video of just what our time here has been like for the last 2 days. Thank you very much, goodbye, good afternoon, and God bless you. We hope to see you next year at the 7th Annual Tax Summit. Goodbye, everybody.